Today was a pretty dry day, even though we did definitely have some shower and some storm activity here and there. Today was actually a pretty dry day compared to most of the days that we have been having over here in the state of South Carolina. In fact, right now, I mean, it's even calm right now as we currently speak. So I definitely do think that we are inside of a lull compared to the past couple of days. But tonight's forecast doesn't really revolve too much around tonight. It revolves around the forecast finally changing. And we talked about it a lot yesterday, especially when we went into the models. I'm going to get into that reason if you weren't here over the past couple of days or so when we have been talking about this. But a new story to talk about as this heat may be finally starting to give way. If you have not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go on and do so. Also hit the share button. Share with all your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't talk to regularly, because it's free. It's free. It's free. So we're going to start off here with the what's on tap for tonight. Peak heat stress tonight, pretty much throughout the nighttime hours. Limited thunderstorm activity all the way through midweek, through into next week, obviously. And then prolonged heat wave continues through Saturday and active conditions this weekend with cooler relief early next week with a cold front moving through. So what's currently going on right now? Well, currently it seems like that we are continuing to talk about dry conditions right now. Dry conditions right now, we're talking about no rainfall statewide. But what happens if we look at the entire U.S.? Well, we do have some rainfall, some severe weather even going on in North Carolina, some flooding in Virginia, maybe even some inside of West Virginia a little bit, but not much. Tennessee getting in on some flooding. We have some storms in Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana. Some severe weather going on from Wisconsin down into Colorado, even inside of Wyoming. And then we even have some more storm activity in Idaho, moving on into New Mexico. Arizona also receiving some rainfall as we speak. Now, what about cloud cover? Well, it seems like right now cloud cover seems to be pretty light compared to what we have been seeing. But for right now, cloud cover seems to be more in that PD area, maybe a little bit of the northern Grand Strand, and even in the CSRA, we have some cloud cover going on over there. But for the most part, mostly clear conditions. Now, what about our cloud cover for the future? Well, as we move this into tonight and as we move this into tomorrow morning, cloud cover activity definitely tries to give way. And as we get here to around 11 a.m., moving all the way to around 1 p.m. or so, moving all the way into the afternoon hours, it looks like cloud cover does seem to try and build its way back up as we get into tomorrow evening. Now, as we get into tomorrow night, going into Friday morning, it looks like cloud cover activity will continue to go on and kind of just get back to its regular kind of light levels. And then as you get into the afternoon, things pop up a lot quicker. Now, what about for our current temperatures? Well, right now we're talking about 86 in Somerville, 85 Charleston, even around 85 inside of Georgetown, and even have around a good 86 inside of Beaufort, 88 Columbia, 91 in Columbia, or 88 in Orangeburg, 91 in Columbia, 87 inside of Newbury, even 86 in Lawrence, Greenville at around 86, 88 Spartanburg, and 89 in Gaffney, 88 York. And then as we go into our air quality for tonight, it does look like that the majority of us are probably inside of that yellow moderate area. Now, if you're not in the yellow, you're in the good category. Or if you're in the orange category, you're also not in the good category. The orange category, that is the unhealthy for sensitive groups up there near Rock Hill and areas just to the east of Rock Hill. So if you're, anywhere inside that orange area, make sure that if you are part of the sensitive groups or if you know anybody that's in the sensitive group area up there, just make sure that they're not outside for a too long period of time tonight. And then, like I said, if you're in the yellow, just make sure that you're aware. Not too bad, but not too great either. So just keep an eye on that air quality for tonight. But again, if you're not in any of those, you're good. Low temperatures for tonight. Looking at around 72 in Spartanburg, 77 in Columbia, even around a good 77 inside of Orangeburg. And let me go in and check and make sure real quick that this is the right night real quick, because I see some similarities here. I'm just making sure that this is the right one. It's a little bit has changed, so let me just go in and flip this on real quick. Here's the new one. 74 in Greenville, 73 Spartanburg, even around 79 in Columbia, 79 Orangeburg, and 77 in Walterboro, 77 Moncks Corner, 81 in Charleston, 79 Georgetown 81 inside of Myrtle Beach, and even 81 over there inside of Hilton Head Island. Now, what about for our max temperatures? Well, as we go on into tomorrow for our high temperatures, we're talking about 94 inside of Greenville, even around 94 in Spartanburg, 95 in Newberry, 97 inside of Columbia. We even have around a good 98 in Moncks Corner, 95 in Charleston, 96 in Hilton Head Island, and 98 in Georgetown, 94 in Myrtle Beach. So it's going to be, again, another hot one as we move into tomorrow. But one thing that still is intact is those heat advisories and the extreme heat warnings that we have. As you can see currently, temperatures of up to 110 degrees, if not higher, will be expected over there in Charleston, Myrtle Beach, and Hilton Head Island. Georgetown, 108. Moncks Corner, 105. Walterboro, 106. Columbia, 105. Orangeburg, 105. Like, it's going to be hot tomorrow. But again, that's what we've been expecting. You know, that's what we've been expecting. We've been expecting temperatures to be 110 plus in some spots. Now, what about as we go over into areas like in the upstate where you still see 98, 99, still 100 in some spots in terms of heat index values? I know not necessarily the hottest, and, you know, a lot of us are used to those types of temperatures there. But, you know, even if you have a feel-like temperature of 98, 99 degrees, I mean, you still should be, you know, drinking plenty of water. You still should be going on and taking breaks because it's going to be hot regardless of where you are throughout the state tomorrow. Now, rainfall-wise, rainfall is not going to be too much of anybody's friend over the next 24 hours. 1/10 of an inch to a 1/10 of an inch for a couple of areas like in the low country, CSRA, upstate, foothills. But it's not really going to be too much. Now, the SPC outlook, we know what the SPC likes to do. They like to go in and update the SPC outlook right at 9 o'clock p.m., and it seems like that they just did it, because I just checked a couple of minutes ago, and it wasn't there either. So, currently right now, no thunderstorms are expected throughout the state of South Carolina for the rest of the night tonight. Tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible for the entire state. Yes, thunderstorms are possible tomorrow for the entire state, no matter where you are. And Friday, the entire state except for a little bit of the mainly low country, and then also the coastal areas as well. The low country seems to be taking a little bit of a break from Charleston all the way down towards that South Carolina-Georgia border. So thunderstorms, you know, it could definitely spread out a lot more. We're still 3 days out, so I wouldn't be surprised if it encompasses the entire state. But for right now, thunderstorm activity just for everybody in the light green. No fire weather. Excessive rainfall. Excessive rainfall. This is something that we're gonna have to start watching out for now. Now, this is day 3. This is Friday. Friday, isolated flash flooding up here for portions of the border, the tri-state border from Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So over there, isolated flash flooding is possible. Now, Saturday comes along, and we take a little bit more of a step forward into the state. Pickens, Walhalla, moving on over, you know, into some of these other areas like Landrum and Tigerville and Cleveland, South Carolina, and a lot of these other areas. Pumpkintown, South Carolina is also included in there. And then Sunday, we just take a huge step up. So, isolated flash flooding for the entire state on Sunday. Again, isolated flash flooding is possible for the entire state on Sunday. Is that subjected to change? Yes, it definitely is. But it does look like that, for the most part, confidence is starting to build that area of beneficial rainfall could cause some flooding issues. And we talked about that area of beneficial rainfall last night. If you were there for that, you know exactly what I'm talking about for this weekend. But isolated flash flooding on Sunday definitely is a pretty statewide, a pretty widespread risk here. Now, the crazy score right now, currently we're at a 7, nice and calm throughout the state, pleasant conditions right now, no significant severe weather threats across the state right now. And why are we at a 7? Well, it still is a bit warm in some areas, and also it is a bit cloudy still in some areas as well. So that kind of adds a little bit, but for the most part, a 7 for tonight. So let's go in now and take a look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure that you pay attention to that, as that is very, 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 very important to go in and look at. We start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. We go forward into this evening. We go into tonight. Here's around 1 o'clock in the morning, going into around 2 o'clock in the morning. And again, this model was kind of made at around 3 p.m. or so. So things are, maybe a little bit off. Obviously, you can see that it says shower activity will be here at 9 p.m. Obviously, there's not. So we're going to disregard that really and kind of just continue to move into tomorrow morning, into tomorrow afternoon, to where you start to see some shower activity start to develop. You start to see some moisture a little bit, all the way to 6 p.m., moving all the way over into 8, 9, 10 p.m., and shower activity continues to move its way west to east across the state. Now, as you go into around 12 o'clock in the morning on Friday, moving even into the early morning hours, the later morning hours on Friday, things stay dry. So the real rain chance I'm really looking at over like the next 40 hours or so is Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and that doesn't even really look like a huge widespread event. I mean, maybe some regional areas get a little bit close to widespread. If you're looking at one area like the Midlands or the CSRA or the Upstate or the Low Country or the Grand Strand area. If you're looking at areas like that, some areas may, and obviously with thunderstorm activity as well, but I'm not really looking at anything too major for tomorrow. And so, overall, some areas definitely could get more than 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch. I know that was the forecast from the National Weather Service, but remember, they don't really count thunderstorms too much there. Now, as we go over into the GFS in terms of the long-term future, this is where things start to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more to the main point of this forecast of why our weather is going to change as we move into like the next 300 to 400 hours or so. So we start off here with the forecast on Friday, going to Friday evening, Friday night. You see some rainfall kind of pushing in. But watch as you move into Saturday morning, going into Saturday afternoon, shower activity, thunderstorm activity starts to get a little bit more towards the more regionally widespread area, maybe close to widespread area as we move into Saturday. You can start to see some good beneficial rainfall moving through. But watch Sunday afternoon going into Sunday evening. A huge plume of moisture comes in. Huge plume of moisture comes in Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and brings in a good amount of rainfall statewide. Now, will everybody get good rainfall statewide? Obviously, that's, we're still 100 plus hours out. Things are going to change for sure. So I think we should just overall just wait on that. But for right now, rainfall activity definitely seems like it's going to pick up the pace, especially as you get even into Monday, even into Tuesday or so. But then Wednesday comes along, things start to die back down. Wednesday going to Thursday, going into Friday, even into Saturday of next week. You're seeing some drier condition. There goes a high pressure down towards our southwest. But then as we move into the week after next week, this is on the 21st here on Tuesday, moving, forward even more, you're still seeing some rainfall kind of popping in here and there all the way into like the 24th, going to like the 25th or so. But that's a long ways away. That's over 300 plus hours. But you can definitely start to see that pattern shift as we get into Sunday. You definitely are starting to see that. Now, as we see how much rainfall is going to fall over the next 384 hours or so, you see maybe around a good 1.75 inches, maybe even up to around 3 inches or so over the next, 384 hours according to the GFS, which is a good amount. We have been seeing an uptrend with the ensembles here in terms of rainfall, and I do think that that's obviously a great thing. We have the drought going on right now, and obviously the drought monitor does update tomorrow, which we will talk about that at the end of the forecast of what's going to happen with that. But for right now, the drought monitor right now is still kind of pushing that D3 over into like parts of the Low Country and a good amount of the Grand Strand, if not all, and then also parts of the PD areas. Now, as we go over into the European is on a better track, if not even more rainfall here. We're talking about 4 inches of rainfall, like near Charleston, 4 inches of rainfall near like the Hilton Head Island areas, according to the European model. And then as you move up into the upstate, as like a minimum, you're seeing around 2.1 in some spots as a minimum. So I do think that the European is definitely a more higher tuned, a more higher output, more beneficial output than the GEFS is, and that's usually what the European does. The European is either like more not really as broad as the GEFS is, and that's usually what the European kind of does here. And the European is more on the higher end this time. So, with all of that rainfall wise out the way, temperatures. We're going to start off with the ensembles first. We're going to start off with the ensembles first here or the deterministic first, excuse me, for when it comes to the actual anomalies. And as you move into Wednesday, going into Thursday, we're still 15 degrees above average or so. Now, as we go on and move into around Friday, afternoon, still around 10 to 15 degrees above average, still Friday. Saturday, around 10 to 15 degrees above average. So things definitely seem like they are going to stay way above average, even as we go into Saturday. But watch Saturday evening going into Sunday. Sunday comes along, and yeah, you can still see a lot of spots that may be around 10, if not a little bit more in terms of degrees above average. But you don't see a full widespread orange across the state. You're starting to see some blue infiltration in there, and that is a sign that a cold front has just moved through. And so, yes, there will be a cold front that will be moving through as we move over into mainly Saturday night going like early Sunday or so. And so that's going to cause these temperatures as we move into like the Sunday time frame going into the Monday time frame to be really low. Watch Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon, we're talking about temperatures 20 degrees below average in some spots. Now, not everybody statewide will be 20 degrees below average, but a lot of people may be 20 plus degrees below average as we move into Monday. Tuesday coming in, maybe not quite 20, but still some spots 5 to 10 degrees below average on Tuesday. Wednesday comes along and we start to get some warmer, conditions trying to move in here and there. Friday comes along, still seeing some, some cooler air kind of moving in here and there. But then Saturday of next weekend comes along, and what do you see? Back to seeing close to 10 degrees below average or so. So it does look like that cooler air definitely wants to try and stay. Cooler air wants to try and dominate the atmosphere as we move more into the future and as we move more towards the end of July. So there is some relief on the way. Definitely some relief on the way once we get into the end part of this weekend. Now, what about the actual temperatures? Because, looking at the anomalies, that's good and all, but what about the actual temperatures? I know that's what most people may be saying. Well, as we go on and move into like Wednesday, Thursday, we're above average. We're not really going to spend too much time. I really want to look at Saturday going into Sunday because you can actually already see some of that infiltration already starting to happen with some of that cooler air. You can kind of see it along this line. If you want a lighter color than that, you can kind of already start to see the cooler air up here, and then you have the warmer air down here at the bottom. So we go in and push this forward even more. And as we get into Sunday, go into like Sunday afternoon, we're still going to be hot on Sunday. But watch Sunday night, we're dipping down to the low 70s, even the high 60s for some. And watch Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon, a high of 70 in some spots. Monday afternoon, a high of 80, 86, 82 or so. Like, there is going to be a humongous cool down as we get into next week. Now, Tuesday comes along, we're still up into the 80s. And then Wednesday, those 90s come back, and they come back, pretty strong. Even as you go into Thursday, up in the upper 90s. Friday up into the upper 90s. But then the weekend comes again. Saturday comes in, and then Sunday comes in, and those temperatures will be back down into the 80s once again. Now, usually once we get around 200 hours out, we really shouldn't really be looking at this, but we can go in and take a look at the ensembles real quick and see the ensembles kind of have us a bit of a same trajectory. Well, if we go into Thursday, going into Friday or so, we're hot. But watch as we move into next week, according to the GEFS, the ensembles also have us cooling down. But as we move more into Wednesday, moving into Thursday of next week, well, those temperatures do get up. those temperatures definitely do get up. But as we move into next weekend, those temperatures kind of die down a little bit as well. So the GEFS is also on the same page, thinking that we're going to see a couple of cool downs, one after the other, once every week or so, over the next 384 hours. And then finally, what about the actual heat index values? Well, obviously, as we move throughout this week, and the rest of the week going into the weekend, we know that those heat index values will be up past 100, past 105, even some areas past 110, some areas past 115. Like, we know that that's going to happen. But as we move even into Saturday, we're still talking about those temperatures up to around 105. Sunday comes along, heat index values near 100, but Monday, those heat index values only get up to around 90 or so. Tuesday, heat index values only up to 90. Wednesday comes along and things start to get more on track towards its normal pace. But you're not seeing too much in terms of like hundreds or anything like that. Like those widespread 105, 106, 107. You're not seeing that really too widespread as we get more and more into Friday of next week. So, will those heat index values continue to be as strong as they have been as that heat rebounds? Right now, it's not really looking too likely. But, as I say all the time, let's just wait. Let's see what happens, as that is like over 200 hours. So, we're going to just wait on that. And so that pretty much wraps up the main part of the forecast here. The forecast finally changes. And that's all my evidence right there as of why the forecast is finally about to change in terms of not only rainfall, but in terms of temperatures as well. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, my Aunt Lulu is here first. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Hopefully everyone had a great day. In Georgetown, the high was around 96. Currently, it's 82 degrees. Well, at my house right now, it is currently a good 85, and it feels like 99 as we currently speak. The high temperature for today was 99 at my house, 99, and it's expected to be just as hot, if not maybe a little bit hotter, because I think it overperformed today. I think the high was 97, and it got all the way up to 99. So it may be even higher tomorrow. We'll see what happens though. Mount Lewis says cloud cover was around 50%. It was hot and muggy. No rain today. We sure could use it. Prayerfully, we will get some rain soon. Rain is on the way. I hope that we get some of that rain. Absolutely, absolutely. Terrell says, greetings, Joseph. Greetings to you. And then my cousin Cheryl comes in and says, good evening, Weatherman. Good evening, everyone today. In Philly seemed a little bit more pleasant, and I hope it was the same for you all at work, but I am listening. Be blessed. Well, thank you so much for that comment, and thank you so much for being here for tonight. And that's pretty much all here in the chat for tonight. So we have a top fan question of the night for tonight. If you have no idea what the top fan question is, it is a question that I ask every night that we see who's paying attention. And whoever gets the answer correct first is the top fan of the night for tonight and gets bragging rights for the night as well. So the question for tonight is, when we were talking about excessive rainfall, what day was it that excessive rainfall is possible for us? What day was it that excessive rainfall is possible for us? If you can get that question correct, you will be top fans of the night for tonight. But before we go in and reveal that answer, we have 4 areas to talk about outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas. What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we're going to give them their forecast for them. Starting off in San Antonio, Texas first. You have low temperatures tonight at around 76, high temperatures for tomorrow at 95, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 77. Now, in terms of precipitation for you, not expected until Friday. Friday, you have a 30% chance of thunderstorm activity, and then as you go into the weekend, it will also continue to be pretty active for you, even as you go into next week. Now, temperature-wise, it looks like that you will continue to stay up into the 90s as well, even as you get into Wednesday. It's going to be around 90 or so. Now, for your severe weather, excessive rainfall, for you, it looks like that you are good. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 74, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 96, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. There is a chance of thunderstorms for tonight. Tomorrow, nothing, but tomorrow night, there is a slight chance of thunderstorm activity. Now, in terms of severe weather for you, it looks like that you are not in the clear. You have an isolated damaging wind risk for tonight, isolated damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour in your area. That's still possible as you move into tonight. And then for excessive rainfall, you also do have a risk of some isolated flash flooding. As you move into tonight as well. So just make sure that you're paying attention for that for tonight. And then for your future, it's going to continue to stay hot. You will continue to stay up into the 90s, but some relief is coming, as you know. Cooler temperatures on Sunday moving on forward, but then by midweek next week, it looks like that you will continue to be up into the 90s, and rain chances as well will stay with you all the way through into early next week. Now for Philadelphia, but before we get there, let's see if we have any answers. We do. My Aunt Lulu says Sunday, and that is correct. Sunday is the correct answer, so congratulations to you for winning the top fan question of the night for tonight. Remember, if you want to be the top fan of the night for tonight, you can by going on and being a subscriber. That's number one. Number two, being here early so you can answer any question that I give. And because the question can range all the way from the beginning of the stream all the way to now. So, I mean, honestly, it could happen anytime. Anything's fair game. Or, it could even be you just being active inside the chat. It could be who gave the best update in their area. It could be who was here first tonight. So that's what I'm saying. Being early definitely is key here. And so, again, congratulations to you for that. But as we move on over into Philadelphia, we have low temperatures tonight at 70, high temperatures for tomorrow at 85, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 72. Patchy fog is expected tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night. Thunderstorms are definitely expected tomorrow and then are likely tomorrow night. So you will see some thunderstorm activity tomorrow. Now, as you move into Friday, going into Saturday, it looks like that you will also have another thunderstorm risk. But then as you move into Sunday onward, looks like things will look good for you. Now, temperature-wise, you're going to continue to stay up into the 80s or so. Maybe might reach 90 on Friday. But even as you move on into like Tuesday, as you move on into Wednesday, you'll be around the mid-90s or so. And then as we go over into your risk of severe weather tomorrow, you do have an isolated damaging wind risk for tomorrow. They may even make that a slight risk, so make sure that you're watching out for damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour tomorrow. And then excessive rainfall wise, you also have a slight risk of excessive rainfall for tomorrow, so that's also a risk of scattered flash flooding. Friday, isolated flash flooding seems to be also the case for you. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at 79, high temperatures for tomorrow at 101, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 78. Seems like precipitation for you not really expected until around Saturday night, Sunday, but it's going to continue to stay hot, that's for sure. But you will have a little bit of a decrease as you move into around Tuesday and Wednesday or so, around 92. And that's pretty much all that I can see here inside of the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. So let's see what's going on throughout the entire nation, weather news-wise. Well, severe thunderstorms posing a risk of strong gust and or large hail are possible across portions of the northern and the central plains, the lower Missouri to the lower Ohio valleys, and across the mid-Atlantic Thursday afternoon and evening. Excessive rainfall may also bring flash and urban flooding over the mid-Mississippi and the Ohio valleys and the mid-Atlantic on Thursday. So overall, things look like it's going to be pretty active. Excessive rainfall, severe weather. We have some dangerous heat that's going to occur over there, obviously in the southwest, but also in Montana. Montana has some extreme heat watches right now. Now, obviously, their extreme heat is not like our extreme heat. So extreme heat for them is like the 80s, the 90s. But they do have a couple of days where they will be like 101, I think, on Sunday. So a couple of areas up there will be pretty hot. And then also down there in Utah in the Four Corners area. And that's pretty much all I have to say there. So, make sure, if you know anybody in the severe weather zones, obviously that being like tonight, like in portions of Nebraska, all the way up into Wisconsin, over into Montana, tomorrow from the Dakotas down into Oklahoma, over into the mid-Atlantic, and even inside of southern Illinois, Indiana. And then on Friday, from Colorado all the way over into Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Georgia, let them know severe weather for them is possible for them. And that's pretty much all that I have to say here for tonight. So A couple of things. Number one, I will be here tomorrow morning. It's going to be very, very early. I don't know if we're going to have time, or really, I don't know if they're going to update the drought monitor early enough. So we may not do a drought update, like a drought prediction. If we do, it probably will be later on. So we will see what happens there. And Saturday, I should be back Saturday evening. I thought it was Sunday evening, but actually I think it's Saturday evening. So Thursday evening all the way to Saturday morning. My forecast, I will not be doing a forecast between those days. I may go on and do a short though from wherever I am at that point. But that's just all the info that I know right now. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We're at 764, trying to get to that main goal of 800. We are right now around a good 36 away. 36 away from that main goal of 800. 36 subscribers away. Let's go in and get there. And also share. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, and people that you don't talk to regularly because it's free. It's free. It's free. And make sure you check out my new website, seweather360.com. seweather360.com. I will be back tomorrow morning for your Thursday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, and congratulations, by the way, for making it halfway through the work week.